Hello, hello. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the topic of AI, I guess the acronym of artificial intelligence. As we know, and there's been a lot of rhetoric around artificial intelligence in certain cultures and certain nations of the world for many years now. Many years, 20, 30 years. Be longer than that, depending on, I guess, what kind of parts of society which you're residing in at different times. And I guess, there's definitely a lot of rhetoric now around post-humanism. What kind of world are we going to be creating with all this kind of external technology? External, yeah, I say that in quotation marks. Sort of technology that we're creating, and how is that changing our society and the way we interact with ourselves and each other, with the environment, all of those things. And I just wanted to put a little notation out there. Just a notation, right? You can take it, you can leave it. It doesn't have to resonate with you. And that basically is, instead of thinking human becoming more AI, what if you reverse that and start pondering on AI becoming more human? And then obviously applying that to ourselves as we are. Obviously depending on your own story, belief, whatever about, how we come to be where we are today and where did this all come from and la-di-da. There's obviously stories out there that we were created by, I want to be careful with what terminology I use here because they don't always like being referred to in particular terminologies, but I guess I'll call them extraterrestrials. Microphone drop, we're not really the only ones out there. If that's news to you or that really doesn't resonate with you, that's cool. I'm not trying to convince you otherwise, okay? So yes, and in that case, we are, our bodies are like hardware on a certain level, and we have, our emotions, our thoughts, and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, the way in which the body functions when it's processing information, information through the use of food and other, I guess, interactions with the outside world, and that's with things like softwares and programs, basically. We have all these softwares and programs all running through our system, and we can choose to deprogram certain softwares. We can choose to do all sorts of stuff with that. Obviously there can be things that come in like, might call them viruses, and you might need the use of things like malware and all of this sort of stuff. It does seem a little bit weird, obviously, applying all these technology words to the human. But, we can be seen as a piece of technology and a piece of artificial intelligence. And so with that, then moving on to, I guess it's going to depend on what you know about our ancestors and how far back you wish to look at the journey of the human. You don't have to go too far back, but in some cultures you do have to go quite far back because of certain things that have happened within certain cultures. But the ancestors at certain time frames, at certain cultures, they used technology frequently, what we would kind of consider technology frequently. However, some of those ancestors were using what I guess some would call more of the internal technologies, so the technology that's actually residing already inside this hardware. And some may also have used external technology, so created technology outside the artificial intelligence, outside the hardware of the body. And so, yeah, this is quite interesting, which I guess you could say is not that much different than using a telephone to call someone or using some mobile smartphone to then write an email to someone, they were able to communicate with people, places and things that were not necessarily within their geographical, physiological sphere. And they did that all the time. And I guess for some of you that might be news to you, and that's okay. And if it doesn't feel like it resonates and you've been programmed with another story and you don't want to let that one go, that's fine. I'm not here to convince you otherwise. This is just some pondering, it's just some notations, just to sort of get you, I guess, pondering on outside what your program might be. And so over time's a funny thing, but certain events and parts of the journey have steered certain cultures, and probably most cultures now today, away from the use of that internal technology, which has kind of, I guess, led us to this point where we're wanting to do these things, but we've got to have to remember or create an external technology to be able to do those things. And you can choose. I mean, it's up to you. You can choose to use both. You can choose to use one or the other. You know, and I'm not here to say that it's wrong with you only wish to use the external technology and that you do not wish to remember how to use your internal technology to do a lot of the things that your external technology does. You know, that's completely up to you. That's a whole other program of software that you might want to wish to run or deprogram, get rid of yourself, uninstall, reprogram another program. And, you know, I understand at this point in time, you know, majority of science would probably say they know within our DNA, maybe potentially up to 10% of our DNA, what it is, what it does. And then the rest, you know, whether it's 90%, would regard it as junk DNA. It doesn't do anything. It's useless almost. However, it's not useless. It's just the fact that science is still trying to catch up with what that other 90% is. And that will only be able to be uncovered as the conscious collective, and where science is able to expand more outside the current paradigms that it sits in, to then be able to uncover more of that 90% and what that actually does. So, and with me saying that, what I'm trying to say there is that 90% of the junk DNA carries a lot of that technology that we have to go back and we have to remember what that is and how to use it. So yeah, we could be considered ourselves as artificial intelligence already. We've got all these programs already running through our systems, and with that, we can choose to keep using all of those programs, or we can use other programs, or potentially become more human. But then that also opens up the book of what it is to be human, and that is probably a discussion for another day. So yeah, let me know if you've got any comments, any questions in the comment section down below. You can also find me on some various social media links in the description box down below. And I'm very intrigued to see where you guys are you're all at with this kind of information. These are the kind of topics that I've loved talking about since I was a young child. And I'm come to a place where I do not wish to keep hiding those parts of myself. So hence why I'm here sharing some of these ponderings, and some of them are probably a bit different than what I've recorded before. And I guess it's my own story, my own program that I need to either reprogram or uninstall and do a new program, or completely get rid of the program altogether, is that I should not feel like I need to hide those parts of myself out of the fear of being misinterpreted and judged for being different, because we are all different in our own way, but we are also the same, if you want to go even bigger on that. Anyway, so like I said, welcome to engage with me in the comment section down below and the other social media platforms, and I will see you soon.